Here we go. So we're back with part 2 of this domination guide, and I hope you caught yesterday's video, but if you didn't, it's just as important as this one when it comes to defending well. So if you didn't catch it after this one. I'm sure those of you that saw it will realise it's an absolute game changer for the rest of this year on 2K. So this video is about the defensive settings, and I did something really stupid, to be honest. Last year I put out a video on some defensive settings that I got from Killzamoy. He calls them the hybrid zone settings, and they're the settings I'm going to walk you through. For some reason this year I just stopped using them. I watched a few videos and saw some settings and I was like, I'll just use those. But I just prefer these settings. They work so much better for me in the way I play. Both offline and online last year they were really effective. So I told you guys I was struggling with domination a few days ago. I couldn't beat the last 3 games on historic. And for some reason I put my defensive settings back on and I haven't stopped winning since. That combined with the information from yesterday's video, you know, it becomes a really strong defensive outfit that you put out on the field every time. So I'm going to walk you through those settings, exactly what they are and how to make them effective, how to use them. It does take a bit of practice. But before I do, I'm going to add one caveat. These settings will get you through every single game on All-Time Dom. You won't lose a game. It also adds to your MT because it's really steel based. So they are the best settings to use. The caveat is, do not use these settings against the Warriors. Now, everyone knows the Warriors all-time team just plays a bit different to every other all-time team. They literally stand on the perimeter and shoot limitless threes for the entire game and they'll go in. So I tried this against the Warriors yesterday and I actually lost by 4. It was a close game, but I don't think the settings were effective in that game. But to prove how effective they are against every other team, I'm actually going to show you how it went against the all-time Lakers. This is the squad I'm running against them, and you're probably just seen there that I picked up Michael Cooper and I sold Houston. Based on yesterday's video, unfortunately Houston doesn't have a place in the team, and Michael Cooper's just a much better lockdown defender, and he's a quarter of the price. So I've made a few changes to the team since yesterday's video. This is the team we're going to rock with. Let's get into it. All-time domination is really tough, and the Lakers for me is on paper certainly the toughest team to play against. Like I said, the Warriors have got this crazy meta that just makes them shoot limitless threes, which is a whole other challenge to overcome. But looking at this, you know, starting 5, all 5 of those players are a threat. And on superstar difficulty and how difficult they've made this, you're expected to struggle. But you'll see with these settings, I don't struggle as much as I should have. Certainly as much as 2K would want me to on a superstar difficulty game against a team like this with heavy algo all the time. So as soon as you load in, what I'll do is I'll slow this down, but as soon as you load into the game, go to your settings. Go to the game plan and go to defensive settings. So, on-ball pressure smother, off-ball pressure deny, force direction is baseline, on-ball screen go over, on-ball screen center, go under, hedge, catch all, hedge center, again, catch all, stay attached is no, off-ball screen goes to go over, post goes to front all, and then finally switch rules off-ball go to switch all. Now I've slowed that down because usually it takes me about 10 seconds total to do it. So I'm going to equip the offensive settings, but that's tomorrow's video and I'm going to show you how that really works. And then the final thing is to turn help defense down. Now this is even more important against all-time teams because if one of their players get hot, your team will start double teaming that player, and if it's Magic in this game, it's going to leave Kobe open. That's not something you want to happen, so make sure that's off. So let's get into the gameplay. The reason this is called a hybrid zone is because you're actually running a man-to-man defense, and you'll see in a second how I activate the settings, but it basically puts the team in a zone that's slightly better placed on the court. So you can see here, I'll go into 2-3 zone, and then I go back into man-to-man. Now I waited a little bit to do that, because if you do it immediately, your players basically scramble and it's just an easy score for the opposition immediately. So just wait a little bit. They've got an easy score anyway, but wait a little bit. And what you'll find is on the next possession, it will kick in. So just a reminder, when you load in, go to the 2-3 zone and then back into man-to-man. Just a reminder that tomorrow also I'm going to be releasing an offensive video where you'll see plays like this and how I approach the offensive end of the game. So you'll see here that they are in a zone. You'll see it clearly in a second. It's a bit of a fast break, but again, we get a stop quickly because the paint is crowded because of that zone. This sequence really shows how tough all-time domination is. You can see how many stops we got in a row there, but they still get 3 points. But the key is we got the stops, and if you saw yesterday's video, you'll know how important that is for the rest of this game. Now, speaking of yesterday's video, you can see here, he's going up for a shot, and I didn't go for a block, I didn't go for a contest, I went for a steal, because that steal is more valuable than anything else he's going to do because of that specific badge. Getting blocks and steals early in this game is so important to how the rest of the game played out. So don't think that these are isolated moments. At any point in the game, if you get a steal, it's going to have an effect. Again, as you just saw there, you know, Shaq hits a fully contested shot, but the important thing is we're contesting the shots. So let me show you how this zone works. Let me show you about the positioning and how you should go about controlling it. I'm going to slow this right down so you can see. So you can see the players, even though they're in a man-to-man defense, that is a zone. And you'll see here, what I'm doing with Cooper is I'm just trying to close off his avenues to a better pass. Early in the game, we've got a couple of steals, momentum's building, that badge is building, and it's just working. So let's look at the next possession. I'm going to slow it down again here. So you can see the zone really clearly here. I'm not worried about Shaq. Shaq's not on my mind. And this is where it takes practice, because the switching is important. You can see I switched to Paul George to close off his most obvious pass there. And then I used Cooper on the other side to do the same. Now he's got no options. Stockton puts pressure on him, and you'll see now Jerry West goes cold. The next possession you can see, I'm going to slow this down again. Jerry West is cold, so I come out to him with Stockton here because there's a good chance we're going to get a steal. When West is cold, his overall drops, so he becomes a worse player, so we're going to put pressure on him. But I can see there's a player open, so I switch to Cooper. Again, this is your focus. Just limit his options. He hasn't got a pass to make. You can see a player creeping around the perimeter there, but West steps inside. He takes a shot. It's a bad shot because he's cold and he's contested as well. Alonzo Mourning will jump up and get that rebound. So again, just focusing on whatever the best pass is. If you don't get the steal in the passing lane, there's a good chance you'll either get an on-ball steal or your opponent will take a bad shot. Those are really their only two options. And sometimes it's all-time dom, so they will blitz through you and just score. There's nothing you can do about that. But most of the time, as long as you're controlling that obvious pass, you would just restrict the CPU's ability to do anything. And the more steals you get, the colder they'll get, the worse the shots they'll take, the more steals they'll give away, and it will just build and build and build. You can see there again, you know, the whole team looks cold now, and we're just building and building. And if you haven't seen that video from yesterday, you have to watch it, because there's a reason all of this is happening. And that was an example of what I was talking about, where sometimes there's nothing you can do. You could see there, I was controlling a player on the perimeter, and Alonzo Mourning got a 3-second violation. These things are going to happen. Like I said, it's designed to annoy you. Be patient as well. Just don't give the CPU time or space. You'll see here, you know, he goes up, he does score, but it's a contest again. Okay, it's an and one, but nothing's easy for the CPU. You know when you run normal man-to-man settings, that was a clean run through to the basket. This time, at least it's contested. And if 1 out of 5 of those, you know, you manage to keep out, that will be the difference between you winning and losing. So I think that's everything. All you need to do now is practice. And now I'm going to show you, as the rest of this game goes on, how impactful the video was from yesterday, that Heart Crusher badge and what it does, and also the combination of these defensive settings and how those two things work together to help you stop the opposition. So there you have it. I'm sure you can see it's a comfortable win. Didn't sweat too much, and we seem to be in control from the start. We're 17 points up now with not long to go. So I hope this shows that these defensive settings do really work. And obviously, like I said, it takes some practice. It takes some practice on the switching to make sure that you are getting in the right lanes, that you're not leaving people open. You will have seen in that montage, there was a lot of shots I had to contest, get to quickly. So the more you use it, the better you'll get. That's what I'll say for sure. But I hope that you see between the video yesterday and the video today what the end result is, and it doesn't really matter who you play, again, unless it's the Warriors. But in terms of all the other games, these settings will work. As long as you're getting steals, the earlier you get them, the better. But your team will continue to build throughout the game. These defensive settings really are focused on getting that Heart Crusher badge working as effectively as it can. And then, in turn, the Heart Crusher badge will then allow you to use these defensive settings more effectively, because you'll be getting more steals and things like that, and it just becomes a cycle until you win the game really comfortably. I always find that the last couple of quarters, it just becomes a lot more easy. The first, second quarters can be a bit tough. Again, it's all-time dom, so you're going to have periods in this game, any game that you play, where you just get blown out for a quarter. That is how it's going to go. But this time it worked. This was the first time we played this, the Lakers dom. And it worked really well. We got the MT we needed as well. So that covers everything in this defensive tutorial video. I slowed down the frames earlier as I went through the defensive settings. So please go back and take screenshots if you need to. So just one final thing. If you have a look at the splits at the end, the most important splits on here, yeah, the Lakers, they were held. They haven't got great shooting splits. Didn't even hit 50, 40, 90 with the all-time Lakers. But it's the steals and the blocks that really matter in this game. They were the difference. We won by 20, but it really all comes down to that. Our shooting splits aren't that different. And you'll see as you go here, we got first quarter, we got off to a good start. Those 2 steals and 2 blocks changed the game. I talk about that badge and how important it is to have on your players, and this really sums it up. But getting 2 steals and 2 blocks in the first quarter, getting 4 steals in the second quarter, we were away. The second half was a completely different game. The overalls were dropping on the opposition. Players were cold. It just became easier and easier as the game went on. Third quarter, we didn't get any steals and blocks, but you can still see we won the quarter comfortably because the opposition were cold. And in the fourth quarter, we added a few more and won that quarter as well. So, all-time Lakers on domination, on superstar difficulty. It's supposed to be a tough game. If you use these defensive settings, it won't be. It takes a bit of getting used to, but start getting used to it, I think. Again, credit to Kilsamoy, who provided these settings. He calls them the hybrid zone. Please check out his video if you want to from last year. That's all for now. Please like and subscribe if you found this helpful. Every like and subscribe helps us massively. Offensive plays and settings coming tomorrow, which will be the third and final video in this domination series. But until next time, thanks for watching, guys.